All right, so here we want to divide these two complex numbers together. The numerator is 5 plus 2y, and the denominator is 3 plus 2y. Now remember though, we don't really divide these. Okay, the idea is to get rid of the I in the denominator. Because remember, I is equal to the square root of -1. Right? So I is a radical, which means there's a radical here in the denominator. And as you should have learned, right, we do not keep radicals in the denominator. So how are we going to cancel that out? Okay, so when we properly rationalize this, right, and this is a binomial, right? There's two terms, the 3 plus 2y. So what we want to do is we want to multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of 3 plus 2y. So what is the conjugate of 3 plus 2y? It's going to be 3 minus 2y. And what we want to do is we want to multiply that by the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so here we do have a couple of things to multiply together. Now in the numerator, I just want to be very careful here, right? We're multiplying 5 plus 2y times 3 minus 2y. Okay, so let's FOIL this out properly. We have the 15 for the first two terms, right? The 5 times the 3. Then we have 5 times negative 2y, which is negative 10i. Then we have the 2y times the 3, which is plus 6i. And then for the last two terms, we have 2y times negative 2y, which gives us negative 4i squared. But remember, I squared is equal to -1. So that's going to make this term then change into a positive 4. So when we finally combine all the like terms, we have 15 plus 4, which is 19, and the negative 10i plus 6i, which is negative 4i. Now, we're only half done though, right? Remember, this is just the numerator part, okay? So now let's finish up, let's do the denominator. So we have 3 plus 2y times 3 minus 2y, and when we properly FOIL this, notice what happens here. In the first terms, 3 times 3 gives us 9. For the outer term, we have 3 minus 2y, which is negative 6i. And for the inner term, we have 2y times 3, which gives us a positive 6i. And then for the last two terms, we have 2y times negative 2y, which is negative 4i squared. Okay. Now, once again, I squared is equal to -1. Okay. So that'll change that into a plus 4. Notice what happens here, though. Negative 6i plus 6i, those cancels out. Right? So the 9 plus 4, that just leaves us with 13 here. Okay? So what is the final result here? In the numerator, we end up with 19 minus 4i. And in the denominator, we end up with 13. Now, technically, we could leave the answer like this, right? But generally, we do split it up. We split it up so we get 19 over 13 minus 4 over 13i, right? So 19 over 13, that would be called the real part. And then the negative 4 over 13, that would be called the imaginary part. But this is going to be the final answer.